Welcome back to the 9 podcast hosted by yours truly, Kevin Thompson, founder and CEO of 99 Capital Group. Thank you guys for joining us. As I always say, subscribe to the channel. As I always say, go and get my book, MLB to CFP, live on Apple and Amazon. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can email us at info@99capitalgroup.com. Send us your questions. You go to the website at www.99capitalgroup.com. Schedule your appointment. As you know, we're here to do what? Educate, empower, and engage, and also entertain. And I'm bringing Matt Middleton back, man. Future Proof, an amazing event. We're going to talk all about it today. We're going to talk about the wins, the what's, the whys, the hows, and what we all got out of this thing. You don't want to miss this. This is right after the event. It was a game-changing event for me, my firm, and everyone around us, pulling everyone up. Thank you, Matt Middleton. You don't want to miss it. Subscribe to the channel. Let's get it. Matt Middleton, Future Proof. Man, I'm going to start with this. I'm going to tell you this. I have never experienced something like that in my entire life in the financial services industry. I am so thrilled to have been a part of it. And I can see your vision. I want you to think like Dave Chappelle when they had the, what was it? The Rick James skit. He said, I can see his aura. That event felt like an aura was behind you, and you're creating something that people are now waking up to and taking notice, man. Thank you for doing that, man. I appreciate it, boss.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you.
No, man, but seriously, I want to start with just day one, day two, going to the, I have so much to say, but what were your thoughts of the event? Let's just start there. What were your thoughts, and did it meet your expectations?
Yeah.
Or did it beat your expectations?
Yeah, look, I think I'm pretty calm around these things. Like we plan, like my team is exceptional, right? And so we plan for all of it. This year there was, I think 1,500 more attendees than last year.
Wow.
We had more content stages. We invested more into those content stages, so they were bigger. The footprint was 30% larger. More meetings than ever. So like, it was just, it felt like you added another whole event to what was last year. So you go on site and it's, you see it being built and you're like, holy shit. Right. Then you get that first session in and it's really crowded and you're feeling it. Right.
Yes.
And so from there, you really just got to roll with it.
Man.
But I would say it's hard. It's hard not to take a moment and just especially when you're on that stage, looking out to a crowd, the sun and, water, you get the salt in the air.
Yeah.
And we're talking shop.
Yes.
And people are just so open. And that to me is like, from an organization standpoint, yep, a little nerves going into it, but very quickly you sit into this comfort zone. But more importantly, just seeing the reaction in real time to people, whether it be from thoughts that were shared on stage or conversations people have on site, or just the sheer, like how you described, like, I've never seen something like this in our industry before, right? There was over 1,500 people that were new to the event this year.
Yeah.
So it's like, we're trying to serve two masters, right? It's how do you level up from people who attended previous year to say like, every year it's like, this is the best experience. It's going to be hard to top it. And then how do you surprise and delight those folks? Yeah. And then more importantly, how do you you see that like the visceral reaction to first time attendees and they just go, oh my God. And then they put into question everything they ever thought about our industry, every experience, time they put into these conferences, in decades before. And just like that, it changes. But more importantly, people embrace it and they own that experience, own that time. And that's really what we, look to do.
Well, right now you're in the crosshairs, right? Like people are looking at you like, hey man, this guy's doing something different and he's going to be taking share from us. We're going to the old fuddy-duddy boring places. Cause right now, this is what advisors are thinking. Okay. The beginning of the year, I'm doing 3 conferences this year. Which ones are they going to be? And yours is going to be either the front end, the back end. You're going to be a part of one of those conferences moving forward. And they're no longer going to get that person at their conference. Yeah. So just be aware of that because it's just that old boring. You've taken that old boring mantra of sitting in a hotel, listening to somebody do slides, to really interaction, communication, and the biggest word, connectivity.
Yeah.
Look, so tell me about what made you think about the connections, like getting people in front of one another, and basically just bringing down the barriers, because that's
Yeah.
what you did a great job of. People weren't scared to talk to each other. Of course, there's food and drinks involved, but at the end of the day, people were having connections and really getting involved and learning about each other's business.
Yeah. I mean, just to kind of talk to your earlier point that will connect to
Yeah,
answering your question here. It's, we have this philosophy where it's not zero sum. So
yeah,
like, even when you think about like, yeah, there is no shortage of conferences to go to in our industry. We don't look at it as like, for us to win, that person has to
true,
lose.
true.
Even when we announced this event, we've kind of built it as a platform where it's like we would certainly welcome smaller events, niche events, user conferences to come and co-locate
Mm-hmm.
at the festival. And you obviously seeing the technology we have, like we can make it very seamless for
Yeah.
partners and attendees to experience it at all.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that's where I think our like future proof as a brand is going to go. And we have, the festival, obviously we just experienced future proof citywide in March next year, and a whole bunch of other retreats, really to meet the needs of every single person, at every stage of their career and every function within, our ecosystem. That certainly doesn't mean like we're going to kick, media partners
Yeah.
away that have conferences, or we're saying don't go to your custodian event or whatnot. That's not really kind of how we operate.
Mm.
So I think that kind of same ethos is shared in how we think about networking, right? Is positive sum. And we realized very early on that, specifically the REA space, like there's just so much opportunity out there, and none of you all look at it as like, for me to win and have a successful business, my peer has to lose,
Absolutely.
right? We could all grow in
Yeah.
this. And I think that is where the magic occurs at the festival. And I was sharing this with my team this morning. Like, it's not us, it's not the sun, it's not the outdoor format. Like, all of these things are attributes to the success. But the thing that makes it successful, the thing that is the magic, is all of you all, is the
Oh my
attendees,
gosh. Thank
the
you, man.
speakers. It's people that are coming there with no agenda, right? They're coming there in a casual style, no egos, and they're there to share and, more importantly, learn. And that is where we get that connection. That's where that buzz happens. So when you think about how we do it, right, which is the breakthrough networking program, right? Everyone's like, oh, this is so amazing. Like, I hate when we're like, oh, tell me about your technology. Like, it's not about the technology. It's about what technology does for you as the end result.
Mm.
And so our goal is to, how do we get people to come to this event and not just hang out with the people they already know, which is what most conferences have, right? Whether you're an introvert, whether you're an extrovert, you show up to a conference, the bigger the conference, the more you're like, okay, well, let me go find a familiar face, right? And
Yeah.
talked about this. And then you gravitate towards those familiar faces. Those familiar faces become your tribe for those 3 or 4 days. You do dinner with them, you hang out with them, and maybe you meet an extension off of your tribe, and that's your
Mhm.
new connections. But there are so many other people there. So why don't you have a service that allows you to better connect with the people you should know at this conference, right? That you could either generate business from or with, or that you could partner with to further your business and help grow. And that's everything from other, advisors to tech providers to asset managers to financial service companies, media, you name it. And so that's really what the magic is in terms of the networking. It's not to say that networking is more important than thought leadership or vice versa or whatever. It's all of it coming together and letting each individual attendee decide what is most important for them and their business going forward.
Well, like I said before, I've never been to an event quite like this. Concerts, food, fun, learning. You've had Bloomberg, CNBC, the RIA channel, wealth networks across the globe, just doing their shows from your event. 42, was it 42 or 4,300 people?
4,200, yeah.
There's not another industry event that we have that's going to have that type of flavor, that type of population that is going to go and listen to somebody talk.
Yeah.
Because I mean, what you're doing, man, I'm telling you, people are taking note. And the reason why I said that earlier, I know it's not a zero sum game, but if I'm an advisor on a budget, right? I'm saying, okay, I have 3 events this year. Maybe it's an FPA or maybe it's just that or
Mhm.
CFP event, whatever it could be. I'm going to do. I want to do one of these events, but I'm going to put this event in there regardless.
Yeah.
So that leaves me with 2. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it's a zero sum game, but I'm just
Yeah.
letting you know, like from a perspective of where I'm thinking, I'm like, if I'm going to do 2 or 3 events this year,
Yeah.
this is
It's
going
going
to
to
be
be
one of
future
them.
proof.
So
It's going to be future proof citywide, future proof festival, and future proof retreat.
boom. That's what I'm talking about. Man, but all I'm saying is like, hey, thank you. Like, thank you for having us because you lifted voices. Of course, you had the big dogs up there, the Goonlocks, the Browns, and all
Yeah.
those guys. And it was great hearing from those guys. But then people like myself, Chelsea, Ryan, guys that don't really have a voice in the industry that are growing their voices.
Yeah.
You helped lift us up, man. And I appreciate that because do you understand how valuable that is? I mean, that's just it's just huge for us.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what else to say, but to say thank you for that, man. And again, however I can be a part of what you're building and however I can help, I would love to do that. That's for another conversation.
Yeah.
But again, no other industry in the world, I'm telling you right now, is doing what you're doing and you're branding very well. I'm so happy for what you're accomplishing. I just don't. I have no words, man. I just wanted to kind of talk to you today because
Yeah.
I know you're damn tired first and foremost.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a cough drop before this one just
Yeah.
to
And then also like how many damn steps do you think you took? You know what
That's
I
another
mean?
thing. Yeah. You feel tired by the time 7 o'clock rolls around. Usually it's like, oh, I'm ready to go out. And it's like by dinner, you're like, oh my God, between the sun, the conversations and the walking, it's like, get me to bed, which is
Where are you
great.
located? Where are you located?
I'm outside Boston.
So you felt it worse because it's
Yeah.
that California day, man. That California day gets long, you
Yeah.
know?
And on top of it, we're East Coast. So like we're waking up at 4 in the morning. Like, all right,
Yeah.
is anyone else up?
Yeah. I'm waking up at 4 or 5, and I'm like
Yeah.
just sitting around. And
Yeah.
one thing I cannot get used to from California, I'll tell you this, because I'm Texas and it's just hot as Hades outside.
Yeah.
It's the shade versus the heat. When the sun's out, I'm like, what the hell just happened, man?
Yeah,
This
I
is cold
know.
out
It's
here.
crazy, right? Like at
Yeah.
2:30 it hits and you're like, oh, now I feel it. But there's always a consistent breeze in California, which really makes it nice. I
Yeah.
want to actually, talk about a comment you just had, which is
Yeah.
like giving people a platform. And I think that's the magic of future proof from a content perspective,
Yeah.
which is, we have a no pay to play model. And most people looked at that at first, like, oh, cool, that's a nice tagline. It's a good like merit-based structure. That's great, but is it necessary? And I think where we landed on that as a mission was to do what you just said is like, we are in an industry, we're filled with the same voices, right? It's an echo chamber of thoughts. Everyone that the media declares an industry titan, right? It's not to knock their success, but they've been an industry's titan for 20 years.
Yeah.
This is an evolving industry with a lot of innovators in it that don't have whether they don't have the PR teams or whatever to get that shine. And so we felt it was imperative on us to create a platform, not to say and this is where I get hung up on these things. Cause like,
Yeah.
it's usually like you have this industry leaders format, right? And
Yeah.
it's like the who's who, or you have next gen. And it's
Yeah.
like there's nothing in between. And so what we looked at and said, we want to do one, we want to be not beholden to any single person. So no commercials are going to dictate who gets on stage.
Yeah.
Secondly, we want to do our own research. And I think, the collective group between my team at Future Proof and like Josh and everyone at Ritholtz is,
Mm.
we're students of this space. They're creating a ton of media. We're, all reading, watching, understanding. We're on social constantly. Like that's how we found you, right? Like
Yeah.
we're in this world where we feel like our filter is a good filter. And so
Yeah.
what our job now is to do is to leverage our Rolodex and connections with the kind of, the people we all think as like the industry's who's who,
Mm.
alongside emerging minds. And if we could do that, where not only it's this and that, but it's or this or that, but this and that, we could put folks on stage together to have that share of mind. I think what we're going to do, and hopefully it will come to kind of, over time, it will make everyone a little bit more approachable, which in
Yeah.
turn will make our industry better and let ideas flourish.
Yeah.
And folks like you who deserve that platform will be sitting alongside the likes of Gunlock and all of those others folks. And I think, at first people looked at it and like, oh, that's nice. And now I think they're starting to see what 3 years into the making actually is doing for the industry. So I appreciate you participating in it, man. It's amazing. And obviously there's no shortage of feedback when I get people that are like, where did you find it's like, where'd you find Kevin? And it's like, now you have your own tribe, right? You have your own people that follow you and all the great work that you're doing. And that's really what this platform's for.
Yeah, man. Again, I appreciate it. I still want to be a part of it moving forward. Hey, I got one quick question. It's kind of a side. Did you jump in the Pacific, man? Don't tell me you jumped out.
Every year. I do it. I do it at the start. I do it at the end. I will tell you one thing. Last year I did it at the end. My wife wanted to kill me because I lost my wedding band. I jumped in, but it threw me out. And I was like, I landed
almost threw you out
somewhere.
twice. Huh?
Yeah, I'm not used to the Pacific Ocean. I was thinking it's our coast, and I'm like, oh, it's nice and pleasant. I went there, I turned around, a wave took me, wedding band flew. It was it. But
man, last thing, because I like to keep these short, man. I wanted to do this because there's so much just information and so many people giving feedback on Future Proof on LinkedIn. I thought this was a good opportunity for us to kind of put like a bow on everything. The beauty behind this event is, again, like the connectivity. I'm sitting at the airport, getting on a plane, and you see the Future Proof bag come up. You're like, hey, you start talking. It's like the way it opens up conversations. I met a wonderful person going back to Chicago, or I think Beth Rubidoff. She wealthmanagement.com. We were just having a great conversation. Met another person right down the way. It's just what you're doing. And that wouldn't happen at other events, because what we're doing, we're all suited and booted. We're sitting there. We're just like in our own space, and everybody's kind of like in their own box, versus like you're open. You're taking that key right now. You have the key and you're opening the door and say, hey, everybody come in and feel free to just converse and be merry and
be yourself. Yeah. Be yourself.
Thank you, man. I just want to say thank you for what you've done. Thank you for changing the industry. You've thrown an ultimate, like a grenade in a crowded room, and everybody's kind of like taking notice. Like, what is that? And you're doing a phenomenal. I know that's a kind of a crazy analogy, but people are taking notice, man. And I want to applaud you for what you've done.
Thank you.
I've never. I hate conferences, dude. I hate them. I don't hate this one. And that says a lot for me, because I don't go to conferences because I just say, why would I do this? It's so boring. Yeah. This one, I'm going to come again and again and again. I appreciate what you're doing, man.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, man.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
So give me one last word from what, just to sum this up, give me one last word, your thoughts, your ideas, and just talk about the next one.
Yeah. So, last year, Future Proof was built around this annual event, right? Which is what we just ended. And last year we realized that, and it goes to your point about like, the connections you made and being at the airport, like most events have attendee bases. Mm-hmm. We realized very quickly people coming out of that event and furthering relationships, it really is a community. And I don't use that word loosely.
Yeah.
Community is somewhere you feel like you have some, association with, right? And what we realized is people were glamoring for the next one, right?
Yeah.
How do I connect? Not just, like show me another event, but like, how do I connect with this group of people again and again and again? And so we took really what was the festival, single annual event, and turned into a business enterprise. And so we introduced a retreat earlier this year that had 500 people in Colorado
Springs. Yeah.
Yep. And then from there, we recently announced Future Proof Citywide, which we're going to, start to announce some of the speakers and the format and everything. That's taking place next March in Miami Beach. I spent about 4 months earlier this year lobbying the city of Miami Beach to get this special permit to allow us to do really what we want to do in making a new event format, but on the East Coast. And we are now happy to report that we got this approval. We're now grandfathered into this space, which is, our peers in that space is Art Basel Miami and South Beach Food and Wine Festival. These are iconic brands that activate on the beach in South Beach. And it's just really memorable space. And so we're excited to work with the city of Miami Beach. We're excited to be there. And so what we'll see next March is from 14th Street to 10th Street, right off of Ocean Drive, we'll activate something similar to what people know as the festival format. But more importantly, over time, we've taken over 25 hotels. We have several different restaurant partnerships and, non-traditional event spaces that are indoor in South Beach. And so over time, what our hope is that we could partner with event companies, we could partner with media companies, other commercial partners to activate across South Beach so that you have this scalable, expansive, walkable footprint that does two things. One, it allows an indoor-outdoor kind of feel to an event, right? Future Proof Festival is entirely outdoors, right? We want to have an indoor and outdoor type of feel. We also wanted to give people the freedom to really go deep in like showing up, and that's individually showing up or allowing their business to show up in different unique ways.
Yeah.
We felt Miami Beach was just a perfect place to do it. It's becoming a financial hub in the country. It obviously is one of the most desirable locations in all of America, and the city embraces things like this. And so, we believe that over time, Future Proof Citywide will actually become our largest annual event gathering. It's hard to believe coming off a festival and what you saw and the acceleration of that. But I do think by year 3, Future Proof Citywide will be our largest event. Festival will be our second largest, and then we'll have these retreats as the touch points or the through lines between those two big annual events that allows our industries to further connect. And so you'll see more from an event and community building standpoint. We also have a lot of data around the meetings and other things, and we're going to start doing some research too, just to help folks better understand like how they are shaping up as compared to their peers in the industry. And I think that's something that I do a lot of research on when I have these conversations with folks, and everyone always says like, what's someone else doing? Like, am I growing at a good clip? Or, hey, are people having these issues too? And like, at the end of the day, we're all small and mid-sized businesses. And we forget that there's not a lot of, accessible and publicly shared data around growing RAA firms. And so we're going to do a little bit more of that based on kind of what we see to help everyone else throughout the year.
Well, thank you for joining us, man. Wonderful event. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'll give it a 15. It was phenomenal. Seriously, man. I'm glad to know you. I just hope to be a part of these things moving forward. And by the way, the lockers were great. You can put your things in those lockers. Too bad you didn't put your wedding band in the locker. Can you?
Yeah, I know. I wish I did. So, my wife said, "Hey, this whole event, you didn't plan to put your wedding band in the room."
Hey, by the way, your wedding band isn't a locker. It's Davy Jones's locker.
Yeah, exactly.
But man, hey, seriously, man, thank you for giving us some time. Go and just take some time off for me, please. Cause I saw you walking around. But again, from 9 Innings Podcast, we appreciate you. We appreciate the opportunity, and hopefully next time we'll see each other again soon.
Appreciate you, Kevin. Thank you so much.
We had Matt Middleton on the call today. We talked about future-proof connectivity, environment, influence, lifting people up. This festival was by far the best festival to get people out of their own shells and into everyone else's network to have great conversations. I hope the industry is taking notice. Matt Middleton, you are a genius. Let's keep it going. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Go and get my book, Get My Beat to CFP, live on Apple and Amazon. You have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can email us at info@99capitalgroup.com. Send us your questions. You go to the website at www.99capitalgroup.com. Schedule an appointment. As you know, we're here to do what? Educate, empower, engage. And today we were here entertaining you. Matt Middleton, wonderful experience. 15 out of 10. Thank you, guys. Stay humble, stay safe. Subscribe to the channel if you went to the Future Proof Festival. I'll see you again soon.